Page 60. Exercise 2. Vikings, Myth and Reality by Sonia Rowe. We know the popular legends about Vikings, but are they true? Did Vikings wear helmets with horns? No, they didn't. Were they all tall and blonde? No, they weren't. In fact, they weren't taller than other people, and some of them were dark. Were Vikings all violent and dangerous? Well, some of them were, but lots of them were peaceful farmers. And the myths go on. So, let's look at some more facts about the Vikings. Vikings came from Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. From 800 AD to 1100 AD, they traveled to many different countries. Their ships were small, but they sailed huge distances. They went west to Iceland, Greenland, and North America, east to Turkey, North Africa, and the Middle East. They even sailed along rivers into Russia. They didn't have satellite navigation, of course. They kept near the land or studied the position of the sun and the stars. The men wore trousers and tops, and the women wore long dresses. They weren't very stylish because they were more interested in keeping warm. Vikings enjoyed sports such as horse riding, swimming, and wrestling. In the winter, they went ice skating and skiing. Games were popular too. Children had toys like whistles and boats, and adults played a game similar to chess, and even football. What about their beliefs? Vikings believed the world was flat, with the sea around it. The world was on top of a huge tree called Yggdrasil. They told lots of stories about trolls, dragons, and sea monsters. When an important Viking died, people put the body in a ship with his clothes, jewelry, and sometimes his animals. Then they covered the ship in earth or set it on fire and pushed it out to sea. Page 61. Exercise 6. Most Vikings lived on farms. Farmers grew lots of vegetables. They also kept animals such as pigs, sheep, cows, and chickens. In the winter, they killed some of their animals for meat. They also ate dried fish when the weather was bad and they couldn't go fishing. Only rich people had homes with more than one room. Usually, Vikings didn't have a lot of furniture. They had a wooden table and sat and slept on benches. Page 62. Exercise 4.
Hi, Naomi. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Gran. How are you?
I'm okay, yes. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, I did. I went to the museum with my cousins, Holly and Finn.
Did your parents go with you too?
Nah, they didn't. They stayed at home.
Did you like the museum?
Yes. We saw an exhibition about Vikings. It was really good. There was a Viking boat and everything. Holly and I loved it, but Finn didn't like the model Vikings. He thought they were real and he was scared.
Oh, no.
Page 63. Exercise 2.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the National Museum of Anthropology here in Mexico City. Now, in front of you, you can see the famous Aztec Sunstone.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so beautiful.
Right, yeah.
We also call it the Calendar Stone. It's about 3.5 meters wide. An Aztec artist made it in 1479. However, a few years later, the Aztecs lost the calendar stone and they forgot about it. People found it under the main square in Mexico City about 300 years later, in 1790. The pictures on the stone show the Aztec calendar. There were 365 days in a year, the same as our calendar.
So the Aztecs had 12 months in a year, just like us, right?
No, they didn't. There were 18 months in an Aztec year. 1 week was 5 days, and each month had 20 days or 4 weeks. The days all had names. For example, flower, water, and dog. This stone is a good example of Aztec maths, as well as Aztec art.
Page 63. Exercises 3 and 4.
Many people know that the Aztecs were fantastic artists. But did you know they had very good technology too? They didn't use wheels for transport because they didn't have the right kind of animals to pull things. But they knew about wheels because they used them for children's toys. You can see an example on this small toy dog.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so beautiful.
Right, yeah.
Wheels weren't useful because Aztecs didn't have many roads. Their city, Tenochtitlan, was on an island in a big lake. There were lots of smaller islands around it. The best way to travel was by water, so the Aztecs made canals.
Really? The Aztecs made canals? I didn't know that. So how did they travel?
They used canoes. They made the canoes from trees. They were very good at this. Some of the canoes were very big, so 50 or 60 people could travel in them.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. How many people lived in Tenochtitlan?
Well, Tenochtitlan was a very big city with 200,000 people.
And how did the Aztecs feed all these people in a city?
They were good farmers and very clever because they used the water in the lake to grow lots of food. They made small fields in special baskets. They put these in the water so the plants grew very quickly. Corn was the most popular food. People ate it every day. Now, does anyone have any more questions?
Oh, yes, I'd like to ask.
Face to Face, Unit 6. One.
So the Aztecs had 12 months in a year, just like us, right?
No, they didn't. There were 18 months in an Aztec year.
2.
The best way to travel was by water, so the Aztecs made canals.
Really? The Aztecs made canals? I didn't know that.
3.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. How many people lived in Tenochtitlan?
Page 64. Exercise 2. Pioneer. Pioneer is a new computer game for schools. Meet Abel Wise, the historian who worked on Pioneer as a games advisor. How did you become a games advisor?
My friend is a games designer. He's working on a big project for schools, all about the pioneers, the people who traveled from across the U.S. east to west in the 1800s. I studied this part of history, so I am helping him to get the details right.
How did the pioneers travel?
They used wagons. The journey was more than 3,000 kilometers, and there weren't any roads. There were mountains and rivers to cross, so it wasn't easy.
What problems did you find in the game?
At first, the game showed people riding in the wagons, but that didn't happen in real life. Only babies or old people sat in the wagons. Most adults and children walked next to the wagon, or they rode on horses. They traveled about 20 kilometers a day, so the journey took 5 to 6 months.
Did you give them other ideas?
Yes, I knew that the wagons were small, so we added a new part of the game. Each player decides what things to take or leave, like real pioneers. They put heavy things, like tables and chairs, at the bottom. Some people even took their piano. The things pioneers needed for the journey, like blankets, plates, cups, and food, were on top of the furniture. Then they slept on top of their things at night. Of course, the wagons were heavy, so when there was a lot of mud, they got stuck. In the end, people often took the heavy furniture off the wagon. The pioneer trail across the U.S. was full of things that people left behind.
Page 65, Exercise 9. One,
Clock. Hot. Box.
2,
Comb. Hello.
3,
Money. Sum.
Page 65, Exercise 11. Jenny, Luke, are you ready? It's time to go.
Not yet. Hang on, I can't find my comb. Oh, here it is.
I'm ready. Oh, no, wait a minute. I want a cushion to sit on, or I can rest my head on it.
Oh, yes. Here's a blanket too. It might be cold at night.
I've got my diary. I want to write about our journey.
Good idea. Why don't you put it in that box? Right. Now, are we ready? Let's go. Page 66, Exercise 7.
Mr. Balestra, when did you come to America?
I came to America in 1947, when I was 19 years old.
Did you fly?
No, I didn't fly. Planes were very expensive then. I sailed in a big ship.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I enjoyed it most of the time, but I was seasick some days. I didn't enjoy that.
Why did you leave home?
I left home because I wanted to see the world.
Who did you travel with?
No one. I traveled on my own.
Were you lonely?
No, I wasn't lonely. I met lots of interesting people on the ship. And one special person, too.
Who was the special person?
A young lady called Angelina. She became my wife.
Page 68, Express yourself. Time expressions.
Yesterday. Last week. First of all. Then. After that.
Giving opinions.
It was great. It was terrible. It was boring. It was fun. I had a great day.
Responding.
Really? Did you? No way. That's amazing. That's interesting. What did you do next? Poor you. Lucky you.
Page 68. Exercises 2 and 5.
Hello, girls.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Andy.
Are you okay?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you about your school trip last week. It was a history project, wasn't it?
That's right. We went to Coketown last Friday.
Coketown?
Yeah, it's a Victorian town. You know, there are lots of old buildings and shops. It's like a town over 100 years ago.
It was so cool. All the people there are dressed up in old-fashioned clothes. It was just like watching a movie.
That's amazing.
Yes, I had a great day.
What about you, Jessica?
Well, it was okay.
Page 68. Exercises 3, 4 and 5.
So, what did you do?
Well, first of all, we changed our money. So we had pounds, shillings and pence, just like the Victorians.
Really?
Yeah, the coins were really big and heavy. And we had this money the whole day, so we could buy sweets and things.
Then we walked around the town. We went inside the houses and saw people doing things, like cooking or washing their clothes.
It was really hard work. They didn't have any electricity.
Or central heating. It was a very hard life.
After that, we went shopping.
Yeah. That was fun.
I thought the shops were a bit boring.
What did you do next?
We had lunch, and after lunch, we went on a steam train. That was amazing. And it was so noisy. And then we had a ride on a Victorian bus.
And after that, I had a ride on an old bicycle.
Did you? What was that like?
It was terrible. I fell off.
Poor you.
Yeah, but we went to a traditional pharmacy, and I bought Jessica a sticking plaster. And then I bought you some sweets.
Yeah, I liked the sweets. They were delicious.